Hi, welcome to the podcast. I'm Nicole, your player one.
And I'm Joycelyn, your player 2.
Today, Indie House, we've got Angriest by Robbie Fraser, Luc Wolthers, Jem Smith, and Jason Sutherland. It's an FPS fighting game.
A short premise of the game is unleash the world's deadliest feat on a colorful cast of anthropomorphic enemies, clearing out slums, sewers, and skyscrapers as you grab new weapons, unlock new sneakers, and upgrade your powers in absurd and wonderful ways. Kick and shoot your way to the exit as you leave behind a smothering trail of shattered doors, broken bones, and crumpled energy drinks. And the content warnings for this game are blood, violence, and gun violence. The game is name your own price, and the demo is available on itch.io for Windows, Mac, and Linux. And a more updated version of the demo is available on Steam, but it's only for Windows. And the full game comes out on Steam in 2023. It took me about 45 minutes to play this game. I didn't finish the game, but I played it for 45 minutes. And the game isn't super hard to play. The game mechanics are pretty simple. I had other problems with the games, but I'll get into that later.
For me, it took about 3 hours to finish the game, and I also didn't find it too difficult. Fighting in the game is pretty straightforward. The controls are simple, WASD, E to kick, F to throw something, left click to shoot, and space, of course, to jump. However, the levels are still challenging. The gameplay is pretty fast-paced, and the more enemies there are, especially enemies that have guns, then the higher the difficulty of the level.
Yeah, I did enjoy that the gameplay itself was pretty simple and straightforward. I did have problems with the game being too laggy, but that was just me, I think.
I don't think it was just you, because for me, much later on in the game, actually, as there were more and more enemies spawning in, the game got laggier to the point where it was actually much more difficult to traverse through the level because I could barely move my character at all.
Yeah, the game started out unplayable for me. I had to turn down all of the settings for the graphics and things like that, which kind of sucked because I actually really enjoyed the graphics, when I was standing still. But I couldn't play the game.
Yeah. On the bright side, though, for those who can traverse through the game just fine, the game has a bunch of elements designed to help the player out. There's auto heal, which means that when you take damage and you don't die, you'll heal very quickly soon afterward. And enemies also approach you, so you get to lure enemies in to kill them. And then one interesting gameplay element are these sneakers. So the player can choose which sneakers they're wearing so long as they unlock them. They serve as a great incentive to go ahead and play the game well and to challenge yourself as you go through the game. So you can try to go ahead and speed through levels as fast as possible, try to go through a level without killing anyone, or try to break as many things as possible in the level, such as toilets or cockroaches. The sneakers will provide additional gameplay features like powering up your kicks, regaining ammo with each kill, shrinking your character, and etc. They also have a really cool design. What do you think of the graphics overall?
They were great, actually. The art was really, really cool. I liked all the different colors that were used. And the graphics, like I said, when I was standing still before I turned them down, were very, very good. It was just that when I tried to play the game with the graphics at the high level that they were at, it was unplayable.
Yeah, when you're standing still or when you get to walk around and just poke around the levels, it's very fun to go ahead and interact with the levels too. So not only are the level designs very cool, they're very funky to look at, it's a retro vibe. Each level is also very detailed, no level feels bland. And also, there's a lot of things to interact with. For example, there's a bunch of energy drinks and beers, so you could get either extremely blackout drunk or you could get extremely hyped up on caffeine, which is actually a fun gameplay element. It doesn't change much about combat in general, mostly just change the graphics, and the effect looks very fun.
Yeah, actually, I really enjoyed that when you drank the energy drinks, it made you go faster. I thought that was a really cool detail.
Yeah, I noticed that it didn't make the game harder or easier when you're going faster, in terms of running, because the effect is only temporary, but it does add a cool visual effect as you play. The enemies you encounter also have very cool designs too. They're just as colorful and unique as the levels. The animations with the enemies, so long as your computer could handle the processing, the animations are very smooth and dramatic, and they're very well done. And whenever you die, the enemies that are still alive will start dancing, and it's pretty funny. And it makes dying slightly less infuriating. Did this game also stress you out too?
Yeah, it actually, if we talk about sound, I really enjoyed the music in the game, but it made me so stressed. I got super anxious because of all of the things combined that I really liked about the game, like the really great graphics, um, the easy gameplay. It made me really frustrated, but it also made me super anxious, and I was unable to play the game, which is part of the reason why I only played it for 45 minutes, was because all of the things combined was just too much for me. um, I really enjoyed the music. I thought it was really cool that the music changed when there were enemies nearby. I thought that was really cool. That was a good idea, but it also just made me panic.
This game forces you to really be on edge and be high energy. Not only because, well, the visuals are, of course, high energy is an odd word to describe visuals, but that is the feeling you will get as you traverse through the levels. And then also, the music is very upbeat and fast paced, and you do not really get to relax in this game at all. And that gets hyped up even more when you go into combat. The combat music is much louder, brasher, it's even faster, but on the bright side, though, it is a helpful indicator when there are enemies in the room. Before you even see an enemy, you'll hear the music and you'll think, oh, I have to fight.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite part about the game?
I think my favorite part was probably the loading music or whatever at the very beginning. Before you even get into the level, I like that the graphics of the map and the screens at the beginning before you start levels. I liked that because it was not as high paced as the actual game.
Yeah, having chill points throughout the game, so basically just whenever you finish the level or whenever you clear a section of the map, it really helps to de-stress.
Yeah, I needed it.
Yeah, because the game is of course challenging, and so when you die over and over again in the levels, you could end up getting more and more stressed out. So being able to clear a level and then go back to the map with the level finished, you just get a feeling of satisfaction, and you also get a break too, which is great. Personally, my favorite part of the game is how the developers will help the player get through the levels. Those gameplay elements that they throw in to make the playthrough easier, such as its gameplay mechanics like the sneakers, or the level design, where some aspects of the level and the environment will actually guide the player where to go, say with graffiti on the wall, or the only door being available is the door that you have to go through, of course. Plus the sound design, with the music letting you know when you're going to be entering combat. All of these elements combined did make it easier for me to get through the game. Would you recommend the game?
I personally don't enjoy this game that much, but I would recommend it if you enjoy single player FPS games and games that keep you on edge and that are very fast paced.
Yeah, this normally isn't the kind of game that I would play, but coming from my perspective, I think that I recommend the game too for people who are into FPS games or combat games. I find it that the play style is best suited for those who like to run and gun. For those who play FPS games, you know what I mean, when you just want to rush in and kill without really putting much tactic into what you're doing. And this is coming from a run and gunner in FPS games. The gameplay mechanics and the overall upbeat, action-packed vibe of the game is best suited for these types of people. However, I do not recommend it for any young children due to the amount of explicit violence and blood.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and then as I said before, if your type of game isn't fast-paced, if you don't want a game that'll stress you out, then this game also isn't for you. Overall, I rate it a 7 out of 10 tokens, and this is of course coming from a person who does sometimes enjoy this type of games. But what would you rate it?
I rated it a 5 out of 10 tokens. Just personally didn't really enjoy it, but I really liked the graphics and the music, just not all together.
Yeah. The vibe is top tier, and then you get to playing it, and well, of course the vibes are still great, but of course if you get stressed out easily, or if you don't like dealing with the stress, then it's gonna detract from your experience.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so overall that'll make it a 6 out of 10 tokens. Great job, you guys. Thank you guys for joining us on this episode of Indie House. Catch us next week on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts. See y'all on the next level. Bye!